How is everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Midco Motorsports. Those associated with the World of Outlaws have never hidden their affection for River Cities Speedway, which is exactly why they usually find their way to Grand Forks multiple times per season. Friday, the greatest show on dirt, made the first of its 2 stops at the legendary Bull Ring for 2019. That is this week's A-Feature. The field included 10-time series champ and North Dakota native Donnie Schatz, along with hometown favorite Mark Dobmeyer. The late model served as the night's support class, which meant double duty for Schatz. He started right behind pole setter Joey Peterson for this one, but the 15 quickly replaces the 7P at the front of the pack. Peterson did hang tough, though. He stuck with Schatz from start to finish, but there was just no way around him. This one went 25 laps in just under 6 minutes, with Schatz leading wire to wire. Now on to the big show. The 1S of Logan Schuchart scored the pole for the main event, and that would prove extremely important on a hot and windy evening in Grand Forks. Restarts seemed to be the only time passes could be made up front. David Gravel made one work momentarily, only to see Schuchart snag the lead right back in the next corner. Meanwhile, Brad Sweet searching all over the track for a way to get past the 1S, but he'd get past himself in the process by James McFadden. Then it was time for the 9 car to try and get Schuchart off the restart, but he gets foiled by the caution flag. That would be the last challenge of the night for Schuchart to answer. In the end, he leads all 40 laps en route to his series best 4th win of the season.
You never know when the rubber's going to come in, how long it's going to stay wet, and whether you can stick to it, how much it's wearing the tires. So it makes it to make some tough decisions on where to move on the restarts. I wasn't sure, especially that last time. I chose the top. I was pretty nervous about that decision, but it worked out. So I'm just proud of the Striding and Performance Products team. Ron, Ben, Tyler, my grandfather, everybody. They do a great job. And right now, I'd like to be a little more consistent in points, but we're leading the Outlaws in series wins, so that's pretty awesome and says a lot about how far those teams come.
Yeah, it sure does. Schuchart's 4th win gives him one more than 10-time series champ Donnie Schatz, a third of the way through the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series season, and that is significant mainly because he's the first guy that's been able to say that since 2014. That's how dominant Donnie has been. McFadden and Sweet joined Schuchart on the podium at River Cities Friday, while Schatz settled for 4th. Terry McCarl and Mark Dobmeyer paced the local group, finishing 7th and 10th, respectively. Now for more on another fun night in Grand Forks, let's check in with Brian Shawn and Midco SN racing analyst Chris Shirek.
All right, here in Victory Lane, Brian Shawn and Chris Shirek recapping the World of Outlaws race here at River Cities Speedway in Grand Forks. Chris, it was tricky tonight with the track conditions. 97 degrees, a lot of wind. They did a lot of work on it, and that kept the drivers guessing a little bit. Yeah, with the weather we had tonight, it's kind of up to the track. The officials did what they could to make the track the best they can. You're kind of at the mercy of the weather. It's the track dried out because of the heat, but I felt like it produced pretty decent racing. Logan Schuchart comes up with the victory. Big win for Shark Racing. You called it earlier that you thought Shark Racing's Jacob Allen might pick up his first victory, or you might have a first-time winner. James McFadden was close to becoming a first-time winner. Yeah, James he looked really good at his first time ever in Grand Forks, and had it not been for that caution with about 12 to go, I believe James would have been a first-time winner here in River Cities. But instead, it's Logan Schuchart picking up the victory here in Grand Forks.
All right, thanks, fellas. Well, after a successful run in NASCAR, Kasey Kahne has shifted his focus back to his racing roots. We'll catch up with the 18-time Cup Series winner when we come back.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
Kasey Kahne had a good run on racing's top rung, winning 18 times in the Cup Series between 2003 and 2017. But after retiring from NASCAR following last season, the 39-year-old has returned to his roots. Midco SN's Brian Shawn caught up with Kahne last week in Grand Forks. to find out how this new chapter in his life is working out.
We are here with Kasey Kahne, 17-year veteran on the NASCAR circuit, 15 of those in the Cup Series. And Kasey now focusing more on his World of Outlaw teams that he's had for a number of years. And Kasey, the biggest reason for that is physically you just could not drive NASCAR races anymore because of a dehydration issue. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it was just something that I guess your bodies can change as with age and things, and mine did in that direction. I started sweating so much and it was all sodium, so I just about halfway through a race I was so depleted, and by the end it was getting ugly at some of those races. So yeah, I just had to stop doing it and kind of change what I had going on. And I had a great career in NASCAR, loved it, enjoyed everything I did and stuff, and got to race for 15 years in the Cup Series, so that was really cool. But yeah, I just had to stop doing it and move and do some other things.
Yeah, now you get a chance to get back on dirt again. And I remember back when you started out, USAC Midgets, World of Outlaws, getting back to your roots a little bit. That's still got to be a lot of fun to be able to race around the country doing sprint car racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always had a huge passion for this style of racing, for sprint car racing, World of Outlaws, and I raced at a lot of these racetracks over the years, but I actually have never been to this one. So kind of the first time up here watching, cheering on Brad Sweet, James McFadden, and it's windy as can be, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's an interesting place, should be pretty neat. I've watched a lot of videos over the years and it always puts on a great show.
And we should mention James McFadden is driving right now because you are trying to work yourself back from an injury that you sustained at Williams Grove. I'm sure you'd love to jump back in, but it's one of those things you just got to wait until you're healthy again.
Yeah, you just have to wait. And I had a kind of a rough year of racing, it seems like, with the dehydration stuff and then the injury 10 races into this year. But I'm feeling better and better each day, and I really enjoy still watching the teams and working with them, cheering them on. James is filling in, doing a great job in our Wicked Energy car, and yeah, so just kind of have some fun with them and until I can get back and drive.
It's crazy, Kasey, that you're a veteran. You've been racing so long because you started so early in your career and you were such a young age that you're only 39 years old. So you have a chance to still tinker around, do some things. Have you thought about your future and some other things that you might want to do down the road?
Yeah, doing this is something that I wanted to do some more. I really wanted to figure out to win some races here. The competition and thing is so tough that it would be really, tough to do that, obviously, but I feel like it'd be a huge accomplishment if I could figure that out. And then after that, I'd still love business, and I love being active and just trying to find ways, find things to do, and also enjoy life. So I have a little boy who's 3.5, which you can spend tons of time there, and then just coming up with some business opportunities to keep going and really try to enjoy things.
When you look at everything that you've experienced over the last 20 years, the racing fraternity is a special one. What stands out to you about it? No matter whether you're on the dirt track, at the NASCAR tracks on Sundays, what is the biggest thing to you that stands out?
I think the fans is one. We see so many different fans over the years, and they can get behind their driver and their sponsors, their teams, things like that, and support unbelievably. So that's been very interesting, eye-opening to me, and pretty fun over the years. The competitors, the people you work with, whether it was the Cup Series, and you meet so many people throughout the entire year. You're together so often, or the Sprint Car Series, the same type of deal, just a smaller group. So, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, to me, it's always just about competition and trying to figure out how to win the race, and be the fastest, and just throughout the night. And yeah, so I still have that drive, and I think everybody that races has that drive, and that's why we do it.
Well, I appreciate you joining us and supporting dirt track racing. I know you've had a number of years, you've had teams on the circuit, and that must have been very important to you.
Yeah, for sure. It was what I started in. My dad worked on sprint cars when I was little, so I grew up around it and always wanted to drive. And once I started doing this, I haven't been able to let it go. So we've had 2 or 3 cars, I think, every year since '08. We started our teams like '05-ish, right when I got into Cup, and was able to afford some of this stuff. And then ever since, we've had 2 to 3 teams. So it's been a blast. I love having great drivers, great employees, mechanics, things that are all part of it, and we have a good time while we're trying to win.
We appreciate the time, Kasey. We wish you the best of luck in the future.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Kahne is hoping to return to the driver's seat in July, but until then, he'll continue to enjoy the ride as an owner. Kahne's driver Brad Sweet had 3 wins, a series best 17 top 5s, and 22 top 10s through the first 26 races on the World of Outlaws circuit this season. That's got him in first place, 12 points clear of Donnie Schatz heading into this weekend's double dip at Knoxville Raceway. Well, the Tri-State late models finally got the green light at Rapid Speedway over the weekend. Find out which driver managed to conquer Rock Rapids next. And welcome back. Well, after failing in its first 4 attempts to kick off its 2019 tour, the Tri-State Late Model Series, featuring drivers from Iowa, Minnesota, and South Dakota, finally found some suitable conditions Friday at Rapid Speedway.
Defending series champ Gary Brown Jr. noting his approval at the start of the night. Thumbs up from the hobby stocks as well. Brady Clausen looking to make it 2 in a row in the 35K. But Sheldon, Iowa's Todd Ewell wanted this one badly. Ewell surged past Clausen on lap 8, and he'd keep him at bay from there. Ewell ends a long and frustrating drought, picking up his first win since 2016. Great story in the B-Mods. Jackson Mulder started racing last year as a way to honor his late father Dave, who lost his battle with cancer in December of 2017. And the car says it all. Same paint scheme, same number, everything. Friday, Jackson showed he's got the same kind of talent as well. Mulder outdueled Tyler Tesh en route to his first career win, and the emotion in victory lane was real. That's Jackson's grandpa Leon, who was a great racer in his own right, beaming with pride. Probably more than a few eyes that needed drying after that. Tough act for the USRA stock cars to follow, but Justin Regnerus did manage to give people plenty to talk about. After going wire to wire to win last week's season opener, the 32 drew the pole, then did it again. That's right, Rocky's reigning champ has now led 36 consecutive laps to start the season. There'd be more domination in the night's special event. 14 cars started the Tri-State Late Model feature, but all but one of them were racing for second. Pole setter Tad Pospisil shot to the front off the start, and the Norfolk, Nebraska native kept the clean air all to himself. He leads all 20 laps for the win.
We've got a pretty good track record at this Rapid Speedway. I think out of the 4 times we've been here, we've won 3 of them and finished 3rd the other time. So really like this place. Fits my driving style well, and look forward to going the next Tri-State race.
Saturday's action featured the season opener at Nobles County and the Knoxville Championship Cup Series. We'll recap the action from both of those tracks after this. While most racetracks around the region were able to go green before the end of May, Nobles County Speedway had to wait a little bit longer. Saturday, folks in Worthington, Minnesota finally got their chance to ring in the season.
Green means go, and we will pick it up with the USRA B-Mods. Trouble up front early. Pole setter Jordan Allers loses his grip and his lead in turn 3. Chris Getz would lead the field back to green in the 18D, but he wouldn't stay there long either. Devin McMartin overtakes him a couple of laps later, and he'd keep the 57X out front the rest of the way.
The win is great. That's like a big monkey going off the back. That's good. Makes the kids happy. Makes me happy.
Little Rock, Iowa's John DeVore had the top spot for the start of the stock car feature, but it didn't take long for Luke Sadoff to catch him. The 5 car out of Jackson, Minnesota made a quick climb from 5th to replace DeVore at the front before the end of lap 4, and like McMartin, Sadoff settled in once he got there. Darren Cordles tried to chase him down, but it didn't happen. Sadoff leads the final 15 laps for the win. It was an interesting night in the hobby stock division. Worthington's own Corey Gronewald led the first 7 laps before giving way to defending champ Dustin Gulbranson. But not long after that, someone literally turned out the lights. That caused about a 25-minute delay, but when racing resumed, the 6 car picked up right where it left off. Gulbranson pulls away from the field and cruises to yet another victory at Nobles County. The A-Mods rounded out the night with a 2-horse race between the 14 of Jason Fisher and Don Garrettson Jr. in the 27. After spending several laps trying to reel in Fisher, the continued pressure finally pays off for Garrettson. Little bobble from Fisher in turn 4, and Garrettson pounces. He drives on to get the win in his third start of 2019. From there, we shoot south to Knoxville, where there was more good news for the McCarl family. A week after Terry picked up career win number 59 in the 410s, his son Carson made a little noise of his own. McCarl got by pole setter Matt Morrow on lap 9, and it was smooth sailing from there. Carson adds to an already impressive season by collecting his first 360 feature flag at Knoxville. The 410s came out next. South Dakota native Matt Jewell sprints into the early lead with Brian Brown hot on his heels. But the 21 was in missile mode. Brown steers under Jewell for the lead early in lap 3, and he never let up. Brown drives on for his track best third win of the season, which is the 47th for his career.
Coming up, the racing career of this River Cities Speedway Hall of Famer just reached gold status. Hear his thoughts on 50 years behind the wheel when we come back.
Midco Motorsports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dacotah Speedway.
And welcome back. Well, generally speaking, age is supposed to catch up with us, a point where we realize we simply can't do the things that we used to do. Apparently, no one bothered to explain that to East Grand Forks' Tom Corcoran, who just kicked off his 50th season of racing. Midco SN's Jeremy Klein has more on the living late model legend in this week's Inside Track, presented by Dacotah Speedway.
I was born into a racing family. My father raced for 16 years. My uncle Jim actually ran the racetrack in Grand Forks for many years. It's actually a second home. I mean, it's one of those situations where I actually started working at the racetrack when I was about 12 years old, when my uncle ran it, and it was just a strong family connection.
Tom Corcoran's love for racing revved up at a young age. He got behind the wheel 50 years ago and has not taken his foot off the gas pedal since.
I never set out to do anything like this. It's gone by in a heartbeat. You know, I mean, it's 50 years, but it's been a great time. The plan was to win a lot of races, and at this point I can say I've been fortunate enough to win my share and probably then some, and it's things like that that you really remember.
In this 50th anniversary season, Corcoran is able to reflect on all of the people that have helped him accomplish this feat.
It takes a lot of support. I've been fortunate enough to have pretty decent sponsors over the years, many of them long-term, long-time friends and sponsors. Over the past many years, I've had very good crew members, and the other big thing was family support. If my kids hadn't liked it, that may have curtailed it for me.
Three summers ago, in year 47, Corcoran had a hip replacement, and even that couldn't slow him down when he picked up his latest feature race victory at River Cities Speedway.
Now on a victory lap here for the Hall of Famer Tom Corcoran.
I'd gone through a dry spell. You know, I'd won previous to that in 2010, and then not again until 2016. And for me, that was really unusual, and it just made it all the more special. It makes you appreciate the success you had prior to that.
At an estimated 235 career wins, according to Corcoran, he has already found his rightful place in the River Cities Speedway Hall of Fame next to some familiar people.
The important thing was to get in the Hall of Fame with a lot of family. I mean, my father's in it, 3 of my uncles are in it, so I mean, it's a huge deal for our family. You know, it's an honor to be there with them.
This Hall of Fame career is not done yet. Corcoran still has a goal that he hopes to achieve.
I've won feature races in 5 decades. If I could come out next season, win one, and win feature events in 6 decades, I don't know who else could pass that. So, I mean, that's a pretty good stretch. The fear of the unknown is kind of one of the things that's keeping me going for all these years. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do when I'm done.
And for now, Corcoran is going to do what he loves and just enjoy season number 50.
I didn't really give it a lot of thought until we actually started racing this year. As big a thing as a lot of people thought it was, I started to believe that, there really was something to it. So.
But for you, it's just another.
It's just another season. Yep.
Now, Corcoran told our team off camera that he's kept all of his racing-related receipts since the 1970s, but said he's hesitant to add them up for fear of realizing just how much his love for racing has actually cost him. Now, as far as his 2019 results, Corcoran has not yet added to that impressive career win total, although he does have one top 5 to his credit. All right, well, that is our time for this week. We'll send you off with a quick look at what's on tap around the region over the next few days. We'll be back here to recap all the action for you next Wednesday night on another edition of Midco Motorsports. For Brian Shawn, Chris Shirek, Jeremy Klein, and our producer Greg Akers, I'm Jay Elson. We'll see you then.